Welcome, everyone. This is Marion Mace from E=VS. Recently, there was a Grigori Grabovoi Academy conference that my dear colleague and friend Carola Sarrasin from the Thailand Project, Grigori Grabovoi Project in Thailand, and she gave a presentation about the different agendas and a beautiful control, macro control that we will all do at the end of this. So here is the information that Carola shared at this symposium to people all over the world. Dear friends of Grigori Petrovich, my presentation details with both an expansion of the UN Agenda 2030 to include an 18th literally sustainable goal, as well as the possibilities of achieving this in the context of high quality future education. Towards the end, with your support, we will carry out an appropriate concentration together. We control this reality for the benefit of all people. On September the 25th, 2015, 193 heads of state and government adopted the 2030 Agenda for Development and Sustainability at the UN Summit in New York. The aim is to address global challenges such as hunger, poverty, healing, high-quality education, world peace, and justice in the form of 17 goals for 2030. But what has developed in this direction in the last 7 years since the agenda was announced? Where, under which government, has the national population become noticeably healthier or wealthier and even better educated? How much more peace and justice has been visibly established on a global level to date? It could even give the impression that time has not been used optimally so far, and that a lot of light needs to be shed on this agenda, or maybe a completely new approach is needed, namely to involve more citizens of the world, responsibility in the realization of the goals. It would also relieve enormous pressure on heads of states and governments. What would it take for that? A global enlightenment and a true education that is directed at both implementation and long-term, namely eternal continuity. The Summit of the Future Education aims to help bring the necessary light to the agenda and to the world in general, to involve all of humanity in this work-changing process, because if the collective consciousness of this earth changes for the better of all, also physical reality will abruptly change in this direction. A third important question arises. At what points in the implementation of the agenda's goals, possibly being blocked or even counteracted or perhaps thwarted? Or could there still be a key goal missing that would be the most sustainable of all? A goal that would make up for and even accelerate the time that has been missing so far. A goal that many people have not even thought of, but with corresponds 100% to the universal plan of creation, namely not to die anymore. Just making the decision that doesn't cost anything right now, no more dying here, I live eternally. We and many others already know that every disease is curable and every aging process is reversible. The strictly scientific teachings of Dr. Grabovoi have proven it, and it makes us realize that knowledge exists in every human body, in every cell of the body. But not everyone knows this yet. Where we will arrive at an unavoidable, necessary development of consciousness and at education of the future. In general, every child thinks that it will live forever because they are much closer to creation and therefore do not think about death at all, because their consciousness is still very small and not distorted. But even greater enlighteners truth seekers, spiritualists, and esoterics still see physical death as some inevitable, even natural, although the opposite has long been proven by other scientists too. Because what does eternal life mean? Amongst other things, eternal cell division and, of course, no longer dying. Death, dying, and finitude are still deeply anchored in the collective consciousness. Therefore, a change in collective consciousness based on high-quality education and enlightenment forms the stable platform for the coherent realization of the agenda goals. You don't need to belong to a religion to understand on a logical level the inconsistencies that almost everything is recognized as eternal. The universe is eternal. The human soul is eternal. The human spirit is eternal. Human consciousness is eternal. Only the body is not supposed to last forever. Really? As if there had been some big mistake in creation. However, that is certainly not the case. The world was created in a single instant and immediately, perfectly. There was also no need for improvement. In the Bible and other ancient teachings, people were able to stay healthy and young for well over 900 years, and then supposedly died suddenly and senselessly. I think we all start to question these old paradigms that we've been taught. The popular assumption that the earth is overpopulated is also not true and has long since been refuted by Grabovoi and several other. Even Elon Musk recently announced in an interview that the earth is underpopulated. He may have become aware of Grigori Grabovoi's teachings because the more people there are, the more stable the world is. University calculations currently assume that there is free space for 32 billion people. And the earth grows. Yes, everything emits from the human being and therefore requires a much higher number to make the earth indestructible. Now, certain groups that currently still have a significant influence on the agenda are trying to occupy the topic of eternal life and are trying to propagate immortality using artificial intelligence, included with a microchip implants. So they wanted to turn humans into bio-robots. But that is so superfluous, as it is counterproductive, and obviously against creation because the soulful human being is already perfect. Plans presented verbally and in writing to dramatically reduce the world's population would, in plain language, mean mass murder, which means that the 18th goal of the non-dying is also justified here, especially since without us humans, the earth would not exist at all. In fact, the soulful human being is the most powerful light structure in the universe, and the human body is the most important structure that sustains the world, including physical death, as the greatest betrayal of human civilization, and therefore non-dying, as a goal in the UN agenda could tackle all current challenges at once. Because in a nutshell, there is no more destruction among the ever-living. No disease, no hunger, no war, no poverty. You get the point. But absolute freedom and independence with eternal, individual, and at the same time collective harmonious evolution development. Multipolarity is becoming reality. Every person counts as a unique personality in a decentralized global architecture that is not subject to any hegemony. The human creates reality, not a system or a system media, but every soulful human being independently who is responsible and conscious, a reality that harms no one and serves the good of all. Why and how exactly this is truly possible, would go a bit beyond my modest scope of presentation. But that's what Dr. Grabovoi accurately and comprehensively describes in 565 works of his teachings, the real structure of the universe and the luminous miracle of man, the image of the Creator in it, just a high quality education, the study of which is highly recommended from childhood until eternity. Attending a practical seminar is also worthwhile. Another small addendum for understanding the Creator here means that the unified Creator of everything, that is, who effect and evaluation is the same for all people. Some religions call him the cosmic intelligence or love or God, although the term God has been hijacked and distorted by some institutions. This is why some people have perhaps understandably lost faith in such a God when it is not the unified Creator, who of course does not punish anyone because he is pure love. So here we're talking about the strongest force in the universe that is responsible for our existence, and that is love. It is in every human being and is a gift from God and God himself. We can therefore use this very power to change the world for the better, to make it livable and lovable for each individual, and to rescue our civilization. By the way, Grigori Grabovoi defines the term religion as a science of reality, the knowledge of the world. And the term rescue means overcoming all problems, threats, and obstacles that stand in the way of the harmonious development of humanity. In view of this, the implementation of the ninth goal, building a resilient infrastructure, promotes integrative industrialization and innovation. Example, the weapons industry, the food industry, the pharmaceutical industry, etc., would result in a radical reorganization and innovative orientation towards products that are truly suitable for eternity, and not only suitable for eternity, but also conducive to eternal and are sustainable. In this case, our objective is the restructuring of all industries and infrastructure to ensure eternal life of all humans. And of course, we also think about the animals, the plant world, which should also live forever, because otherwise it would be eternal life if everything died. So cutting down forests on a gigantic scale and burying the tree trunks so that they don't emit any CO2, which initially sounds like a bad idea, perhaps a bad joke, is exactly 180 degrees contrary to the so-called SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals, especially the 15th goal, which states protection and restoration and promotion of the sustainable use of terrestrial ecosystems, sustainable management of forests, combat desertification, halt and reverse land degradation, and halt biodiversity loss. Other current influences on the agenda who see us humans as useless eaters and as a problem that could be solved with drugs and computer games are counteracting several goals, including the fourth goal of high quality education. We can already see that certain influences don't seem quite up to the task or could potentially have a completely different agenda. The task should therefore be shifted as quickly as possible to the area of decentralized, global future education that covers all areas of society. This also includes all academic disciplines. A spreading surrender of personal responsibility could quickly lead to its withdrawal and conscious self-responsibility in place. Of course, it would be enormously helpful in achieving the goal if the global mainstream or mass media were placed under rotation, decentralized supervision by the civilian population. So we include the helpful point in the control that is about to begin, So let's sit back, get quiet, and we do our macro control with our objective. So make yourself comfortable right in the here and now. Focus on yourself, and we're going to embark on a journey into your body. Observe how your heart shines, how it radiates light and warmth. Observe how the blood flows through the vessels and supplies the organs with oxygen. Observe how the entire organism, all blood cells, all body cells, the bone structure, the organs, the muscle tissue, and the nervous system all play together like a gigantic orchestra. Everything is connected, and each of us is connected to each other and to the universe, even to every star. As calm observers, we can perceive our heart synchronized with the pulse of the universe. We reach a higher state of consciousness, of joy and love. A ray of light emerges from the heart, into which we place our objective. The global rescue of all, the macro rescue, and our light shines around the world. It brightens noticeably. We focus on securing eternal life for all, starting with the desire, the will, and the practice of non-dying. With the God-given normal immortality of the physical body as the ultimate basis for the global ending of fear, of death, of power grabs, violence and destruction in all forms, we humans are at this moment expanding the UN agenda to include the 18th goal of non-dying. It enters the collective consciousness of the earth and can be read by everyone at the same time. We add the entire teachings of Grigori Petrovich's goal to the teachings, and due to this enormous spreading effect, knowledge about the eternal physical body is established and opens up gigantic perspectives for a constructive, creative redesign of the world in all areas. Worldwide access to all-encompassing teachings, the content, studying and practicing leads to a deeper self-knowledge, which opens all doors for every person. Every citizen of the world is responsible for contributing to the realization of the agenda's goal and for the benefit of all. The limitless abundance of resources on this earth creates global prosperity down to the last corner. People and nature breathe a sigh of relief and bloom in fascinating beauty. Art, culture, and traditions also experience endless prosperity through freedom in individual development and in society. All industries and infrastructures are reconstructed in themselves innovatively and creatively to ensure the eternal life of all people. Possible damage is identified and averted in advance, because extrasensory abilities such as clairvoyance and clair-knowing become apparent again in every person. Mass media is used for true future education, as well as for mass concentration. For example, to effortlessly teleport heavy equipment into impassable areas to prevent potential disasters on a global scale, even from outer space. All of humanity is becoming aware of its light, its origin, and its timeless potential. Nothing is impossible. 519 7148. 519 7148. 519 7148. Nothing is impossible. Materialization with the light of God. This lecture was delivered on the 4th of December 2014. Thank you very much for listening to Carola Sarrasin's presentation that I'm giving you in English. Thanks everyone, and bye for now.